Hey folks, welcome to Life on Beagle Road. Today we are doing herd maintenance and I'm going to talk about the annual testing that we do for all of our goats before we get to breeding season. But first, here's a little goat girl. Come here, little goat girl. What you got? Steve eating your leaves.
That's what it's supposed to do.
Yeah. The first thing that I'm going to do today is collect a fecal sample. The way that I do that is I try to collect a little bit from all the goats in any particular group. So for example, I'll collect a little bit from each doe, put it all in one bag labeled does.
Have been studied ad nauseum and in even more depth by a study launched by the FBI and released.
I'll collect a little from each buck and put it in one bag labeled buck. As if we needed more proof that goats were disgusting. The reason that I do this versus testing goats individually is that sometimes goats are shedding parasites when they are not showing symptoms, and then you'll have other goats that are showing symptoms and they're not really shedding. So it's good to get a picture of what's going on generally in your herd and then only treat the goats that are truly symptomatic. I don't have anybody that's really symptomatic right now, but I do know that July is really our peak month to start having parasite issues, at least internal parasite issues. So want to get tested, see if there's anything happening so that if I do have an outbreak, then I know what I'm dealing with. The second thing that I'm going to do is trim hooves, clean them up, trim the hair around the hooves, and then dip the feet into a zinc sulfate solution to prevent hoof rot. Hoof rot can be very prevalent when it's warm and hot, you know, like all summer in Pennsylvania. Trimming your goat's hooves is important not only to prevent hoof rot, but also for your goat's posture and their comfort in standing, running, just general overall health. Think of it like you would have overgrown toenails and bunions on your feet. You wouldn't stand a lot and you wouldn't be in very good shape. This is a great time of year to trim up your goats, even if you're not showing them, which, you know, we're not this year, obviously. But it's a good time to get external parasites off of them, and it also makes them a little cooler for the summer. I make sure not to trim their hair too short because of course I don't want them to get sunburn. They could get sunburned just like us. I also want them to stay in the habit of this happening and not feel uncomfortable when it does. In a few days when time allows, I will also give the goats a bath and make sure that they aren't showing any signs of external parasites like lice or mites. Since they're out being rotated through the pastures, it's a really great time to get rid of external parasites because they're not in here in the barn. Stevie girl, we gotta talk. The beard has to go. Can you hold your head still long enough for me to do it? Please? Hi, don't bite my nose. Fun fact, in goats, beards and horns are not gender specific. They are just simply genetic characteristics. If Stevie had like a full, really nice, pretty beard, probably let her keep it, but it's just kind of this little tiny, I don't know, goat goatee. And stuff gets stuck in it when they're out in the woods in the summer. Yeah. Oh, this is why I let Kenny do this. Oh my gosh, hair up my nose. Hair up my nose, Stevie, Stevie. Here's a good story for you. The other day, Kenny came in all proud with a package from Amazon and said, "Look, I bought you a scale." And as I was reaching for a cast iron pan to hit him with, he pulled out this animal scale. The third thing that I'm gonna do is weigh the goats. That way I know when I'm dosing them with any sort of medication that I'm using the proper amount. And I also like to track it when they get pregnant and after they kid. If you have a full-size dairy goat and don't have a large animal scale, there is a tape that you can use. Super simple to measure them and calculate their weight that way. With miniature breeds, you don't have that, so you could simply use your scale. You step on it, weigh yourself, then hold the goat and weigh both of you together. That's what I used to do. And onto the scale. Good job, girl. There you go. So to give you an idea, Stevie just weighed about 68 pounds. And this morning when I did Honey Rider and Dandelion Honey, they were about 45 and 46 pounds. So much smaller. Those two are both in milk too, so that contributes to a little bit of the lower weight. Stevie has been dried off for a couple months and she is my largest goat. So 68 pounds makes pretty good sense. Oh look! More poop for my sample. You can't really call yourself a goat person until you will pick up goat poop with your bare hands. That's just a rule. I read it somewhere. Not sure where, but other people will confirm. Scout's had her hooves trimmed at least twice before, but this is definitely her first time being clipped. So we'll see how it goes. Not my best clip job ever, but she did pretty well. She was not spazzy. She let me trim around her udder, which is good. We want to get her used to that so that she'll be easy on the milk stand when she's big. Right, girl? Right. All right, let's see how much you weigh. All right, onto the scale. Onto the scale. 42 pounds. Big girl. Big girl. I feel like a little bit of a serial killer with this next tip, but you can compost the hair that you've clipped. Just don't like fashion it into a doll or something. I think that's where you cross the line of reusing hair for environmental purposes into reusing hair for mentally unwell purposes, I think. Also, it's hot. Maybe you can see my glistening sheen glistening. It's actually profuse sweating. The fourth thing that I'm doing this time of year is doing blood tests on the goats. So I just had the vet out today. She blood tested everybody who was over 6 months. The does that are over 6 months, most will get bred this year, but even if they don't, I want to make sure that they're disease free. The reason that I'm not testing those that are under 6 months is you can get false negatives, but they are negative from parentage. I am testing for CAE, CL, and Yonis. I do all 3 of those tests in the fall for the does. Now, this time of year, I just do the CAE for the does because I do that every 6 months. It's very contagious at shows and just want to be sure of that. I did decide to do all 3 tests for the bucks this time of year because I will be offering stud service this year. Testing is never a guarantee. You can definitely get false negatives. There is a period with a lot of communicable diseases where you will see a period of false negativity. So the best thing you can do is a minimum of annual testing and make sure that you are buying from herds that have tested negative for all of those diseases as well. And that ends yet another rant on goats. You know, Kenny tells me every time that I need to talk less and do more, but I cannot stop talking about goats when I start, so I'm sorry, I'm working on it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys again soon.